Okay, I have my template for my saucer. And again, this could be any shape you wanted it to be. I'm going to use my tongue depressor knife to cut around it. Now you might want this to be texturized, or you might want to leave it smooth. But if you do want it texturized, you should do that now. For this one, I just hit it with the back of the tool. So I just found a tool that I wanted to and just went through and gave it a little bit of a texture. For contrast, because I'm dealing with opposites, and my cup was smooth, and so then I wanted my saucer to have some texture. Could also use your roller. You could use your tennis shoe. You could use nature. Roll nature into there. You guys are going to need to develop your ideas through creative problem solving. I know it's hard when you don't have the class to bounce things off of, but you certainly can ask someone at home. You can stay on in the Google Meets and we can talk to each other. We can do breakout rooms again to problem solve, but you need to really be making your own decisions about what it is that you want. So then what I did is I smoothed out this edge, a little bit of water, and it is going to be stuck to the tar paper. So I need to lift that tar paper up. And then I flipped it over and smoothed out this edge again. So a lot like our trays that we did. So what I did want is a square. And so what can I drape it over that was a square? Well, I found my laundry detergent caps work great to drape it over. You're not pressing very hard. And then I cut a square of clay out and put it on there. So what I did is I centered it first. And if this isn't very dry, you might want to put a paper towel in between it or a piece of newspaper. So right now this is pretty dry. So you can let your square dry out if you want to. And then I just flipped it over and put it on my laundry detergent cap. And if you want the circle, your laundry detergent cap could work great for this. You just might want to put a paper towel or plastic on there. So then I push down. And I think some of you are letting things dry out a little too quickly. So what I would do with this is take your bag and lay it over it. So I would take your bag and lay it over it and then tuck it under there. And you can let it sit for the next day until it's dry, and we'll talk about a foot. Okay, my saucer's dried a little bit. And so I'm going to make a foot on here. So what I'm doing is squaring where I want the foot to be, scoring where I want the foot to be, just like the cup. And I'm going to add water to there. And then I'm going to flatten out one side of the coil so that I then can score it. Same direction. And now I'm going to push it onto my saucer. Now I have it right where the square is on the inside, and I could have made it just a little bit bigger. Might have been a little more stable. So I'm going to push it down, kind of making a triangle with my fingers. Make sure it's nice and attached. Squaring it off even more. And then I'm going to take, this time a popsicle stick, and push down. Make sure it's nice and attached to square it off. Now this, you don't have to do this. You can create a foot to go with your theme. Doesn't have to be square. This is just more of a generic one. And I'm going to push it onto the table. So now I have a square into a square. Now I think the saucer is just a little bit big, and it has a sharp edge. So I'm going to go around and pinch out that edge to soften it so it matches the edge on the cup. But remember, we're dealing with opposites. So right now the texture on the cup reminds me of water. This reminds me of stone. So now I need to put a handle on it, but I also need to think about what my opposites are. So what are you going to do to your cup? What are you going to do to your saucer? Are you going to sculpt things and put it on there? How are you going to create your opposites? Now you can't use words. You can't just write water and stone, hard and soft. It has to be visually evident. So what are you going to do? Are you going to cut this into something? Are you going to add things onto here? Am I going to have a wave as a handle? And how could you do that? That's a part of what this project is. You using your problem-solving skills. So what would a wave look like as a handle? And how could I do that as a wave? And how maybe could I add a couple stones to here? Okay, so your problem-solving is a part of it. And I know that's hard, but you have a lot of tools out there. So if you need to know how to sculpt a turtle, you're going to have to go onto Pinterest and look for turtles out of clay, or rabbits out of clay, or pottery turtles. If you want to do a wave, look for a wave cup handle, a cup that looks like a wave, a water cup, and add the word pottery to it. Okay, am I copying when I do that? Well, most likely what you are doing is not a direct copy of what you are looking for. So what else could this be? So you made a plan. I'd like you to keep trying to execute the plan, but I'd also like you to listen to the clay. What do you see happening in front of you? What are you doing with what's happening in front of you, and how can you make it better? All right, good luck.